Alright, old school NBA fans, self-research, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. In this video here, going to talk about LeBron James's competition on his first stint in Cleveland. A lot has been made about how LeBron James carried, dragged a bunch of bums, did all these great things. And I'm here to show you that those teams that he played, and especially the ones he actually beat, were really not only nothing special, but were ice cold going into the playoffs for the most part. A couple exceptions. I'll get right into it. So as we know, LeBron James got drafted in 2004. Cleveland in 2003 was a 17-65 team. The East that year, the other 14 teams not named Cleveland, won 558 games. Of course, a lot of those, they're going to be 500 because every time an East team plays an East team, they cancel each other out, one win, one loss. Okay, fine. Well, in 2004, Cleveland gets LeBron James, and it looks like they go from 17 to 35 wins. They did. They improved by 18 wins from 2003. That's true. The Eastern Conference went from 558 down to 524 wins. That's, again, the 14 teams not including Cleveland. What was the deal there? Cleveland improved 18 wins, but the conference as a whole got worse by 34. So even if you figure that Cleveland winning the 18, that accounts for 18 of 34, what about the other 16? They're just getting worse versus the Western Conference. Then in 2005, they win 512 games. That's a minus 12 right there. Now, they do get 7 games better, go from 35 to 42, but again, it does not account for the other losses, so it's clear the East is just getting worse. They're getting bad. And we all know how bad the East was back in 01, 02, 03. I mean, those teams that went to the finals were not good at all. I mean, some of the weakest. In fact, I want to say there wasn't even a 50-win team in 03. I thought it was just one 49-win team or something like that. One of those years, it was one 49-win team going to the finals. Crazy, the Nets. So LeBron James's first playoff series ever, Cleveland 2006. And again, not his fault. He plays who's in front of him. It's all he can do. But it's the media and the fans that make a bigger deal about it than it should be. 2006, they play Washington in the first round. Washington is a 42-40 team, and Cleveland beats them, obviously. Washington's final 19 games going into the playoffs, they were 9-10. So they were not hot. They were nothing like that. They were just what you'd expect from a 42-40 team. Exactly. The next round against Detroit. Now, Detroit, they're the two-time East defending champions. They're 64-18. That's a 780 win percentage. In the 12 games before playing Cleveland in the conference semifinals, they were 7-5. So they weren't necessarily hot or cold. They rested starters towards the end when they'd already wrapped up home court advantage. So hard to really get a gauge on them one way or another. But I do have a video clip here from Game 7 of that series. One that Cleveland, they had a chance to win, obviously, on the road in Game 7. But as LeBron found out, winning in Detroit in a Game 7 is not an easy thing to do, especially when your teammates are not shooting well. We've seen this before. Obviously, the LeBron camp is going to give LeBron a pass, saying, oh, his numbers were good. The rest of his team, that didn't come through. But if you look at the 1990 Eastern Conference Final Game 7, Jordan's supporting cast was historically bad. So if you're going to give LeBron a pass, then you're going to have to give Jordan one too. And I know you guys hate to do that.
Deny the Detroit Pistons their 4th straight trip to the Eastern Conference Finals. But it's Chauncey Billups early on as he steps around the Rasheed Wallace screen and pulls up to drain the 3. Detroit off to a quick 12-4 lead. Richard Hamilton drives in and lobs the pass to Ben Wallace for the alley-oop jam. Detroit builds this lead to 16-6. The Cavs try to keep it close. LeBron James explodes to the hoop, throws down the mountain. Cavs on the run. Larry Hughes with a long alley-oop pass to LeBron. Detroit's lead is down to 2, 40-38 from the third. Phillips dribbles baseline, uses the pump fake to knock down the jump shot. Lindsey Hunter next up for the Pistons. He blows by LeBron James to get in the lane for the layup. And Detroit's lead is 7. LeBron James attempts the 3, but his shot cannot fall. In the second half, Cleveland scores only 23 points overall. Tayshaun Prince for the Pistons drives baseline and cuts between two defenders for the lay-in. 48. Tayshaun Prince again. This time he backs down and spins past the defense to kick it out to Lindsey Hunter. 3-ball good with another baseline spin, but he goes to the basket himself. Misses, but taps in his own miss. Richard Hamilton in the fourth quarter late, curling around the screen for the dish. 15 before coasting on to the victory, 79-61. LeBron James going home for the 2005.
In that game there, it just looked like Detroit just kind of hung on. They only scored 79 points. They weren't exactly world beaters themselves. Cleveland had a hard time scoring in that game. They were up 3-2. So it's not like that they weren't. It's just in that particular game, Detroit put the clamp down on them. They wanted it a little more. They lost. It's that simple. They were supposed to lose. Detroit was the better team. They were the 1 seed. Dwayne Wade beat them in the next round, though. Took care of them. So the next season, 2007, Cleveland plays this team in the first round.
See here is
makes 9 of 11 free throws. Unbelievable.
Washington did pretty well and got open looks.
Drew Gooden here. The hook goes, and they only took 14 shots. Lay off me, baby.
You know, sometimes that's the only way to win basketball games is have one guy score 40 points. I mean, what you're watching is
Gooden, the O board, and the pass to Larry Hughes, who ends the first half in fine fashion. At the break, Cleveland up 48. The middle got an and one, and you did. And then a 9-point lead for Cleveland right here. End of the third quarter. The Cavaliers had the lead, and in the fourth quarter we go. Big Z, 11 of his 16 in the fourth.
This is where you really saw Cleveland just slowly begin to take control, pass the ball, moving, getting open shots, getting in the paint, getting clean shots, efficient shots, and then taking advantage of lapses and opportunities when they got them to get a quick point.
And there was the guy who struggled in the game, LeBron James, finishing there.
That's the 2007 Washington Wizards. 41-41 team. Okay, that's nothing unusual. A lot of 8 seeds are right around 40, 42 win. Okay, whatever. But missing Caron Butler and Gilbert Arenas, that is a big deal. Their final 23 games of the year, the Wizards were 7-16. So this is a layup. This is a gimme. In that game that I showed you in game 1, Anton Jamison actually outscored LeBron James. And Larry Hughes wasn't exactly dog crap himself. In the next round, you got the Nets in the conference semifinals. New Jersey's 41-41 in the regular season. Their final 30 games, including the first round, they were 17-13. So they're playing maybe a little better above the record. Okay. But still, ultimately, a 41-41 team. They were not red hot. Nothing. They weren't ice cold either. They were just about what you'd expect for a 500 team. Now you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. The big win that LeBron hangs his hat on. The Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit in 07. Detroit was a 53-29 team in the regular season. Before playing Cleveland, they were actually 19-9 coming down the stretch. Not bad. Maybe a hair better than what their season record was. And as we all know, Cleveland won that in 6 games. That's the big win, and I'm serious. The next season in 2008, Cleveland plays the Wizards yet again. Wizards are 43-39. However, in the last 13 games of the year, they're 7-6. Just what you'd expect, a 500 team. The next round against Boston, the big bad Boston Celtics. 2008, they were 66-16 in the regular season. However, they were only 16-10 in the playoffs. I think that's the most games played to win a championship. I'd have to double check that, but that might be right. They played a team in the first round that they should have swept. Not only did they not sweep them, here's a clip of Game 6. There never even should have been a Game 6, but check it out. Boston against Atlanta, first round, 2008.
Boston up 21-14. They're up by 12 after 1. They were looking good. Second, Lead down to 6 here. It's Mike Bibby. Talked about the veteran having that experience. Baseline jumper. Lead just 1 at the break. Third quarter now. That is a big rejection. A couple big blocks all season long, especially in this series. Now Kevin gets the pass from Rajon Rondo. Now it's Pierce. Knocking down this out on top. Hawks out. They're going to rally in the fourth. Bibby misses the 3-ball. Marvin by 1 if you're an Atlanta fan. Josh Childress loved the afro, and he loved the finish.
1 for 2, three-point game. Let's see what they do. Celtics need a 3. Final seconds. Rondo coming up. Doesn't look like they're going to foul. 1 second to go. Rondo puts it up. It's over.
So as you can see, somehow, someway, a 37-45 Atlanta Hawks team took the Celtics 7 games. That's crazy. The fact that Cleveland also took Boston 7, it loses all its cachet. If they would have beat them in 4 or 5, it would have been a lot better showing for Cleveland and LeBron to say, oh yeah, we forced Boston to 7 games. Like, yeah, well, so did a 37-win Atlanta team, so not really that big a deal now. It's just crazy how Boston played down to the competition in all 4 of their series. There's just no other way to put it. So the next season, 2009, Cleveland is playing Detroit. And the competition, to me, is just getting worse. 39-43 in the regular season. Allen Iverson gets injured. Their last 20 games, they're 7-13. 7-13. That's a team in the playoffs? What a joke. So without Iverson, obviously they get mollywopped, swept out. The next round, Atlanta Hawks in the conference semifinals. A little bit better competition, 47-35. They were the 4 seed. But in their last 20 games before playing Cleveland in the semifinals, they were 10-10. No big deal. A 500 team coming down the stretch. And Cleveland swept them. No big deal. How about Orlando in the Eastern Conference Finals? Orlando was a 59-23 team in the regular season. Very good record. But coming down the stretch before playing Cleveland in the conference finals, Orlando was 12-10. And I understand they played Boston in the semifinals. I get that. However, Boston didn't have Kevin Garnett. And you still got pushed 7. This team was easily beatable. Kobe mashed them up in 5 games. What was the problem? A team playing 12-10 down the stretch is certainly not a hot team. The last season on Cleveland for LeBron James, 2010, they played the Bulls in the first round. Another 41-41 team in the regular season. Their final 24 games, the Bulls were 10-14. Certainly playing like a 500 or just below kind of team with that record. And then in the semifinals, they played Boston. Now I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, Boston was much better than the record indicated. They pushed the Lakers to 7, which I think the Lakers by that time were running on fumes coming down the stretch, a lot like the 98 Bulls. But still, 2010 Boston was 50-32 in the regular season. Going into the conference semifinals versus Cleveland, Boston was 7-8 in their final 15 games before the semifinals. So definitely not a red-hot team by any means. Cleveland had a 2-1 lead against them also. So if you look at it that way, they'd be 8-10 until Game 4. And then when Game 4 happened, they won 3 straight, and that was a wrap. This team was definitely primed for a loss. A 61-win Cleveland team should have won that series, but they didn't. So bottom line is, a lot of people talk about Cleveland was a bunch of bums with LeBron James, which is actually not true. They had all-stars, all defensive players, coaches of the years, 60-win teams, number 1 net rated teams. Cleveland in 2006 won 50 games. In 2007, they won 50 games. In 2008, they won 45. In 2009, they won 66. And in 2010, they won 61. Not exactly a weak scrub team. But you know how many teams Cleveland beat in that entire 7-year stint with LeBron James? Above 43 wins. How many teams think they beat? All the carrying that LeBron James did. How many teams over 43 wins did they beat? 2. One was Detroit in 07, and the other was a 47-win Atlanta team. You beat 2 teams over 43 wins. That's it. Michael Jordan did that in 1989, just the one season. He beat 2 50-win teams, and he was on a 47-win team. He wasn't even on a 50 and 60-win team. I don't want to hear it. This carrying bums narrative is ridiculous. Just not true. Cleveland was a solid team. Yes, they needed a player like a LeBron or a Dwayne Wade. They were going to need somebody to make it all work together. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Obviously, without LeBron or a key marquee player or Kobe Bryant, they were not going to win much of anything. But they had that player to make it work. So they had shooters. They had inside defense. They had basically everything you needed to win. But they just didn't win much in the playoffs, not against any real competition. Just as an example of what I was saying about Michael Jordan on his time with the Bulls, playing red-hot teams, like Milwaukee won something like 17 out of their last 19 games in 85. Boston won like 30 straight home games, all that stuff. The worst team that the Bulls faced in the 80s, all right, in the 80s, for Jordan's tenure from 85 to 89, the worst team they played was the 88 Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? Cleveland Cavaliers in 1988 were 42-40. So you're thinking, oh, it's just like the Wizards or the 2009 Pistons. No, they weren't. This 42-40 team won 11 of its last 13 games and 8 of its last 9 to get into the playoffs. That means at one point they would have been 34-39. 34-39. And then got into the playoffs. That's pretty nice. You had to win 8 out of 9 just to make it. 7 of the 11 out of 13 wins they had was by double digits. So this was no team that just backed into the playoffs. No. They had to win almost every game just to make the playoffs. That was the worst team that the Bulls played. And I just think that this whole notion of, oh, you carried bums and all this stuff, was a terribly weak conference. This whole narrative of LeBron carrying these players, it's just ridiculous. Number one, the players were not near as bad as what everybody's trying to say. And number two, the competition was just so pathetically weak. At the end of the day, even though the teams were not good, 2 wins over 43 win teams in 7 seasons. That's all it was. All this going on and on narrative about LeBron's great competition and the great carry job is about 2 teams over 43 wins. And one of them was a 47-win Atlanta team when Cleveland was a 66-win team. Joke, right? That's all I got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you wouldn't mind sharing the video, that would be excellent. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I've been giving daily content. And that's it. Until next time.